Hello. Hello, hello. Hello, hello. Just waiting. Okay. All right, I'm gonna start talking. Oh, hello, hello. Okay, so Atlantis versus Lemuria. And the reason why some people feel like they don't fit in, no matter what color they are, there's a lot of white people that feel like they can't fit in. There's a lot of brown people feel like they can't fit in. Um, and some of the symptoms that when I was listening to something yesterday about Lemuria, some of the symptoms that tells us, some of us, that we come from Lemuria. Lemuria is about oneness. Lemuria is on a love frequency. Lemuria does not believe the consciousness of Lemuria does not believe in individual being an individual. We believe that everything is one, that we're all connected. But when you come to this particular kind of consciousness right here, everything is divided. Everything is about war. This is very Atlantean. I'm going to talk about Atlantis versus Lemuria. I want to say this without really trying to. I don't want to call out a group of people, but they're going to be called out, and I don't mean this to be nasty, but it is what it is, and it's time for this group of people. They are a problem. What group of people talk about Atlantis the most? And I'm not talking about mainstream TV, Gaia. I'm not talking about anybody on mainstream TV. I'm talking about outside of mainstream TV on the internet. Let's just say the conscious community. What group of people constantly talked about Atlantis to no end? I've never, ever, I've never heard this group of people talk about Lemuria. Why is that? Lemuria is the divine feminine energy. Lemuria is a divine feminine energy. I really believe that this United States, I really believe this is still Atlantis. Atlantis was originally about all of that technology and all of that stuff. And Lemuria, uh, I already know I come from Lemuria. And that's why some of us feel like overwhelmed by being around too many people. Some of us don't like to be around a lot of people because of that. We are, some of us are Lemurians. That's where we come from. And this type of environment where people are all about individualism, competition, and these shadows and all that stuff, some of it is a little too hard for us. Some of us feel like we don't know how to communicate with people. Because some of us still Lemuria is about the heart. Lemuria is more heart based. And when you're in this particular world, it's more about the mind and individuality. That is Atlantis. This, I believe, is still Atlantis. This is still a version of Atlantis. They just fell in consciousness, but I feel like right now, this is still Atlantis. And what group of people talked about Atlantis the most? Specifically in the conscious community, what group of people talk about Atlantis the most? And you wonder why they're just not a fit. We know who they are. A group of people in the conscious community that always talk about Atlantis. Always talk about Atlantis rise back up. Always talking about Atlantis like it was the best thing since sliced bread. Atlantis is the reason why we are here today. Lemuria was one of the first humans. And I think our bodies were remade by the Anunnaki. I believe this is all, they all come from like Atlantis. They're like all Atlanteans. Atlantis is all about war, individuality, capitalism, technology, everything we see right now. Everything we see right now. But you had a group of people that constantly talk about Egypt. And I never liked Egypt. I always felt like Egypt was evil. I always felt like something was evil about Egypt. But you had a group of people, well, we know Egypt was the first dynasty. Egypt was the first dynasty after the fall of matriarchy. And we had a group of people that always talk about Egypt, and then you have the women who always want to follow. And we had a group of people that always talk about Atlantis. Only Atlantis, nothing else but Atlantis. But they do not talk about Lemuria. This group of people that always talk about Atlantis and Egypt, they're not about love. They're not on a love frequency. They're about individuality. They're about capitalism. They're about technology. And that's how they want to keep it. And they do everything possible to keep a group of women in a certain community from rising to a certain level of consciousness. This group of people are a problem. And the reason why I feel like the brown woman is going to consistently be taken out, because she shall not support this type of community anymore. This community is deadly. I remember when I first, not when I first started this channel, because I started this channel in 2012, but I wasn't speaking until like 2017 is when I really started to make videos, like 2016, I think 2017 is when I really first started to make videos. That was like about 8 years ago. And I used to call the black community the deaf community. And I stopped calling it the deaf community because I felt like it sounded low vibrational. I felt like it sounded evil. But it really is the deaf community. I'm not going to say it like that anymore because it just sounds negative. It comes off as very negative. But it is, the black community is deaf. And the black woman the brown woman shall not keep trying to support this community. And the fact that she does is the reason why they are taken out in the droves. Let me tell you something. And we already know what group of people always talk about Atlantis, besides on mainstream media, other groups of people that want to take credit. But I'm talking about what you don't even hear people in Africa talk about it. That's what I'm talking about. And you have a certain group of people that resonate with Lemuria, and it's really a lot of Americans, brown Americans. That's why I'm saying that I believe America is the motherland. I said that in my last video. I believe America is the motherland. United States of America is Egypt. United States of America is Atlantis. It's everything that Atlantis was. It's Atlantis. And what's the main group of men people that always talk about Atlantis and Egypt? They are dangerous. They're the ones that are wanting to prevent the divine feminine energy, and they go along and act like they're actually for divine feminine energy because they see it right. They see it that it is rising up, They see that there's nothing they can do. And divine feminine energy is about a particular type of energy. It's not about you being a female. It's about a particular type of energy. It's about like love frequency. It's about unity. It's about and the way they communicated was more like through telepathy. It's about a certain type of consciousness, energy. It's not necessarily about a person being a female. But you have a group of people that they know it's nothing they can do. They know that it's nothing they can do to stop it from rising. So what they do, they come out with this music that degrade women, and they do everything. And now they want to talk about the black woman is God. And I'm not saying that's not true. When she's in her true essence, when she knows who she is God. So I'm not going to say it's not true. But listen, even at her lowest state, she is still God. Why? Because at her lowest and her highest, she still influences pretty much the world, even at her lowest. So that makes her God either way. Either way, that makes her God. Okay? But they do this stuff because they know it's nothing they can do to stop the divine feminine from rising. And so they talk about, they know it's coming. So they might talk about Lemuria. They might talk about divine feminine. And they talk about all this stuff, but really they trying to invade the spaces of divine feminine so they can control it. They are all Atlanteans, are all about control, and that is a certain group of people in the black brown community. Not the black brown, like I'm not talking about, when I say black brown, I'm talking about the same community, not Mexican and stuff like that. The same group of people in the brown community, conscious community. I always talk about Atlantis. They are about control. They are about domination. They never want to see the divine feminine rise. And brown women keep going along with it. If they have to be moved out the way, but brown women want to keep supporting them, so brown women are being taken out. This is not me judging them. This is the truth. This is the truth. The Lemurians was a continent that took up parts of the West. This is why I guess this is why I like the West Coast. I don't want to live in any other part of the United States besides the West Coast. I don't want to live in any other part of the United States of America. And I was like, what is it about the West Coast that I like so much? Because I'm from Alabama. That's where I grew up. So I said, what is it about the West Coast that keeps drawing me? Because I don't want to be anywhere else. Now, I lived in India. I felt like connected to India. I go places where I feel connected to. I don't just go places to travel. I go places where I feel like there's a connection. And I felt connected to India, South India. And that's why the continent of Lemuria stretched parts of the West Coast, which California used to be Mexico, and parts of India and other parts. No wonder I feel drawn to these areas. No wonder. Now, Atlantis wanted to dominate. The Lemurians said, no, leave us alone. And Atlantis would not leave the Lemurians alone. They wanted control of them, just like you see right now. Just like what you see right now in this particular, under this particular type of consciousness. They won't leave you alone. You cannot say no. They want control, and that's it. If you say no, it's going to be war. Just be ready for war. Now, you have this group of people that want to act like victims in the brown community. And you have brown women that's always at the front lines for them. But a lot of them are the Atlanteans that were part of the group of people that wanted domination. A lot of them are from the Anunnaki. These group of people that continue to be victims. And it's time for them, in order to get back to a place of love, some of them have to, I mean, listen, it's time to stop looking at people as if they're just people. Some are very dangerous. The reason why a lot of us fell in, some of us chose to come here to help humanity rise back up to the love consciousness. So some of us chose to be here. But other than that, the real reason for this soul trap is has a lot to do with those Atlanteans, those Saturnians. Either way, they are what? Black. Now stuff is happening to them probably because of judgment, and brown women want to get in the way, and this is why I feel like things happen to brown women. When you see something that happens to a group of people like that, and you're like, oh, why this keep happening? This is some kind of an energetic, this is judgment. This is nobody else is just doing this for no reason. And so it was a war between Lemuria and Atlantis because Lemuria did not want to be Lemuria did not want to be ruled by Atlantis. Lemuria wanted to be left alone. Atlantis refused, and there was a big war that broke out, and that resulted in a huge cataclysm. It resulted in a huge flood, a flood. And so you had some beings in Lemuria who survived, who did not, and I believe I was the one of them who survived. I believe I agreed to come here. Some of us agreed to come here. We didn't have no idea what we would be getting ourselves into. Some of the beings that's being taken out, that's your complexion, is because they are a part of those Atlanteans. They are a part of the Anunnaki. They're evil. No white man is making them go kill off their community. No white man is making them pick up a gun to have them go kill everybody. They're Atlanteans. They're evil. I'm just going to have to say it. I don't see any other group of people talk about Atlantis more than what you see in the black community. That lets me know those are some of the main Atlanteans. And they do everything possible to keep to prevent the rise in the divine feminine. And they're being taken out because in order for the divine feminine to really rise up, they have to go. And brown women don't want to hear it. Brown women want to keep muling for them. I'm not going to judge them because some of us, we have our issues. Brown women, I mean, a lot of us are still in our ego. And so when we're in our ego, we do things that we should not be doing. Okay? So there was a big war that broke out between the Atlanteans and the Lemurians. And we ended up here. But Lemuria is a consciousness. So when people say Lemuria is destroyed, Lemuria is not destroyed. You know the same way they talk about the church. The church is inside the people. The church is not about building. So even if you never see another church building again, once the people decide to bring the Holy Spirit back, then you're going to have the church back. So it's not about a building. It's about a consciousness. It's not about physicality. It's about a consciousness. So when the divine feminine rise up and we get back into love and unity consciousness, then that's Lemuria. That is Lemuria. And then Atlantis goes down. But see, Lemuria failed and Atlantis rose up. And that's why we have what we have right today. Because of Atlantis. But I just feel like talking about that really quickly. Yes, everything you say makes sense. Thank you. Yeah. Yeah, unfortunately I have to go on off to work, but I'm gonna make do some more lives and stuff. But yeah, I don't support the group of men in the black community. I do not. I really do not support the brown women because the brown women need to get out their ego. It's not about defending a group of people. People have to get out of their ego. I work daily. I have to die to my flesh daily. So if I had to die to my flesh daily, then other people need to die to their flesh daily too. It's not about defending a group of people if they want to stay in their ego. Brown women need to get out their ego and stop taking up for a group of men that need to go. I'm not kidding. They are the ones who destroyed Lemuria. They are part of the Anunnaki. They do everything. Now they want to put their hands on the Great Mother. They want to put their hands on matriarchy. Now some brown men are sincere, but a lot of them they putting their hands on it because they know they can't stop the rise, and so they want to mess with the doggone women again. So I don't support them. I don't like them. I do not like them. I don't care who wants to accuse. Oh, you hate this group of men. No. They are stopping. They are doing everything to stop love consciousness. They are stopping the divine feminine. They are Atlantis. They are the reasons why consciousness is where it is. They are the reason. I believe they created the white man. I'm not talking about a particular type of white man. I'm talking about a particular type of white man. Not your average white man that don't. Some white people are okay. I'm not talking about just white people in general, but you have a particular type of white people they're just straight demonic, and nothing you can do about it. They are demonic, and I believe that comes from them doggone Atlanteans. They evil. Okay, and they don't need to be saved. And anybody else who want to keep trying to save this group of people, specifically this group of men. But you know, even in Atlantis, you had women that were willing to go along with it. So the women are going to have to go too. You're always going to have women that will be willing to do whatever men say. You're always going to have that. And so for that reason, some of them have to be taken out. Like I say, Lemuria and that love and that divine feminine is not about being a biological female. It's about a type of energy. It's energetic. It's about a type of consciousness. It's not about being a biological female. You can have biological males that are in alignment with the Lemurian type of frequency, and they're biological males. It's not about what you look like on the outside. But anyway, with that being said, I have to go. Unfortunately, I hate to get off so soon, but I have to go, and I will talk later. Okay.